So as I invite Maggie to come forward, and thank you for your patience, I want to say Maggie is a woman after my own heart. She grows food, and she puts it on the table because, to me, that's what gardening's about. I like many flower gardeners, but I like to eat my produce, and Maggie's here to join us to tell us about growing it, preserving it, and serving it on the table. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good evening. I do want to start by telling you what I'm going to talk to you about tonight is my opinion. And I will also tell you that I'm a daughter of an immigrant. My father was from Italy. And if you know how Italians are, our opinions are right. And if you don't want to believe me, just ask my husband, 51 years. As far as I am concerned, there is not what's wrong with your plant. I want to start with what's wrong with our food. And I am talking about the GMOs. I am not talking about the GMOs where a scientist takes a gene from one buckeye plant or a tree and puts it into another one to preserve that tree. I am talking about Monsanto and Dow and Bayer, who have infiltrated our food system that is beyond anything that I ever could think was possible. There are several things, in my opinion, that are really wrong with GMOs. One, we are monocropping. And if you don't believe that, I can tell you I am surrounded. Our farm is surrounded with monocropping. There are people in the organic field that call it frankenfood. The issue is that Monsanto has injected things like Roundup glyphosate into the seed so that the seed is Roundup ready. A farmer cannot save his GMO seeds. He is not allowed to. He has to buy fresh seed from Monsanto or from the seed company that supplies, gets their seed from Monsanto every year. And they will prosecute you if they catch you saving their seed. Now, the other issue is that came across because they said that they could feed the world by doing this. They got much higher production. Well, I can tell you after 50 years of being in organics, I can outgrow them any day. Any organic farmer can. And if you don't believe me, Ohio State ran a really nice little trial of corn, of GMO corn and organic corn. The organic corn did better, of course, with half the inputs, half the cost, and got more money for their corn. The other issue is that when you eat foods that have GMOs in them, you are eating pesticides. And the exciting thing about this is there now is a test that you could take to find out how many pesticides are in your body. Isn't that thrilling? So now they're starting to connect the dots. The rise in autism, the rise in cancer. I saw on the news the other night where they said that lung cancer is a connection between eating processed foods. Well, what they're not saying is that you're eating GMO foods. When you buy something at the grocery store, you read the label. If it has more than 5 ingredients on it, don't buy it. If it has something there you cannot pronounce or you don't know what it means, do not buy it. And the biggest thing that complaint I hear is if I have to buy organic food is that it's really expensive. How many times do you go out and eat? How many times do you eat fast food? How much pop are you buying? These are choices. It's your health. It is your body. And I can tell you, I am an organic farmer. And you are organic. The earth was born organically. Everybody is organic. We were not meant to have all of these artificial things in us. So we eat real butter. Because real butter is good for you. Now, who wants to eat plastic? I was so glad to see that Subway said they were taking the plastic out of their buns.
Yeah.
Oh my, yeah, oh dear. Anyway, we will start talking about the light things, the good things, the wonderful things, the organic things. When we were first married, my husband said, I need to have a garden. I'm a city gal. Really? Like and grow things? Yes. So we started a garden, 1/4 acre. I thought that was an absolutely immense garden. And one of my biggest memories was coming in with 2 bushels of lima beans to shell. My poor hands. But he did it organically because that's the only way he knew how. His grandparents were really in tune with the earth and were big into sustainable agriculture even that many years ago. So fast forward 24 years ago, we bought our little snug farm. And if you don't know what a snug farm is, that is an English term for being a little farm amongst big farms. So yes, I am surrounded by the Frankenfoods of the world. But we bought it with the intent of being an organic farm. And because it was a production farm, or in production, we went to the ag office and I said, we're taking this farm into being an organic farm. I got this deer in the headlights look. Like, what? I said, organic. What do you mean? I said, we're going to be an organic farm. We don't have any organic farms around here. Well, you do now. So it took us a couple of years of going into transition. We joined OFA. I'm sure you're all aware of OFA. That's your arm in this state for certifying organics. It's OEFFA, Ohio Ecological Food and Farmers Association, based in Columbus. They have a great website. And they certified us for several years. They send somebody from another state who comes and goes through everything in our farm. Every building, every shelf, every plant. We have to have a complete record of everything we planted. We have to keep all the seeds. We grow basically ourselves, we grow only organic heirloom seeds because I like to save our seeds. I'm a big seed saver. So we grow heirlooms because then they all come back true. So after that, we just ended up growing our own food. And we have these nice, neat little rows, you know. And this is how it looks. My husband runs the tractor. I have the shovel. I'm in the scoop. I'm putting more, amendments onto the soil. And I hear this, honey? And I said, what? And he said, would you mind speeding it up a little bit? Because he said, I'm breaking into a little sweat. We had to have a little talk. The following year, we put in all raised beds. So we have about 2,000 square feet of raised beds. And we grow what we eat. Now, I have a permanent asparagus bed, which I just love. No, I don't weed it. We mow it down. We pick the asparagus. We either take a chainsaw, mow it down, let the asparagus come up, mow it down. If the weeds get too tall, pick all the asparagus out, roll it down, asparagus still comes up. And then when it's extra, when we can't eat any more, I freeze it. And how I freeze it is we pick it, I blanch it for a couple of minutes, put it in ice water, put it in a colander. I then slide it and pack it into quart jars. All right? Then I take the water that I have blanched the asparagus in and I ladle it into the jar and I freeze it. It's a very similar process like if you get fish, fresh fish, that you freeze it in the waters that it was swimming in. It's the same principle. You are freezing it in the same water that you blanched it in. I do the same thing with green beans. We grow providers, which I happen to like very, very much. And I do the same thing with carrots and yellow beans. I freeze them all, and I freeze them all in the water that I have blanched them in. Now, when the asparagus, when you bring it out of the freezer, you have to take the lid off because you're going to have some expansion. Yes, it is a little soft. However, creamed asparagus on toast, oh my. You know, how can you go wrong? Asparagus and ham in crispellis. Crispellis is the Italian crepe with a little sauce over it. I mean, you can just, you know, there's just so many things that you can do with it. Cream of asparagus soup, it's worth it. You do not want to buy asparagus that comes from Peru, which 51% of our asparagus comes from Peru. It has been sprayed with methyl bromide, which is a cancer-causing agent. Just so you know, make sure that you know where your asparagus comes from. So, after we got our raised beds, we're doing well. I have a very nice, easy weed control. I have a weed torch. I love my weed torch. I am fast with that weed torch. I ended up buying my own tanks. I don't use any of the exchange things because I found out that they only fill them to 15 pounds and I wanted the full 20 pounds. I put it on a dolly. I put it in a milk carton, put it on a dolly that has big balloon tires, bungee in the thing, have my weed torch, and off I go. So I torch his beds to get them ready for the spring. It's just so easy to kill all those weeds that's grown up. And all of our farm is done in stone because if you cement everything, where does the water go? So we have all stone, and so I'm out there weed torching. And that way I don't have to use any pesticides or anything to kill the weeds. It works really well. So after we get that done, we start to plant. We do not rototill. We're like the American Indians. We only dig a hole if you're going to plant something in it. So he draws a little trough down, and you're going to love this. Beans. You know the root on the bean, the little white spot? That has to be put down in the ground where that is down touching the earth. So each bean has to be planted. You can't just toss them in. Because the little bean knows everything it's supposed to do. It can hardly wait to get going. But if you just toss it in, that bean has to use its energy to turn itself around, which it does, and go where it's supposed to go. So you're going to help it out by planting your beans that way. Now, I use two things in the garden. Actually, there are three. This is my opinion. I love my corzite. I know some people think it's a waste. Some people don't like it. I love it. I have great success with it. It helps with the root system. It forms a symbiotic relationship with the roots, and it draws up the water, and it helps the plant to really grow a tremendous root system. So I am very fond of that. I mix that. It's like a quarter of a teaspoon to 1 gallon of water. I mean, it goes for a long, long way. And then I use something that we should all have in our house, organic milk. I am a big fan of organic milk. I use 1 cup of milk to 1 gallon of water. It provides a lot of calcium, but it provides a lot of nutriments for my plants. I dampen down the hose, put in my little beans. Our son came from Florida. He comes up to help us put the garden in, and he's fit. He's a Boy Scout leader, and his son is a wrestler, and they work out, and he's always telling me how fit he is. One day, working in the garden, he was gone by 5 o'clock on the sofa. Mother, I can't move. I said, I know. Welcome to the farm, Anyway, I use a lot of organic milk. It's good for powdery mildew, and so the little beans are then now growing. All the things are growing. We don't grow really odd things because we don't eat really odd things. We grow a lot, kale and carrots and beets and potatoes. Is there anything better than a fresh dug potato? And when you take it and you clean it, cube it, cook it, drain it, butter, sour cream, dill from your garden. I mean, you could become a vegetarian. It's very simple. At any rate, as far as pesticides are concerned, I am a real lover of neem oil. It's from a tree in India, and neem oil, there was an article, I know you all read Mother Jones or Mother Earth magazine. And they have a magazine called Herbal Living, and there was a researcher, a PhD, who said she listed 8 things that neem oil does for your skin, keeping it, reducing wrinkles and age spots, and keeping your skin look dewy and all this. So neem oil is wonderful to spray. It's an insecticide, fungicide, pesticide, and it keeps all the little goodies off of my plants. And so I find it, really easy. When we have a lot of extra food, which we do, of course, we share with our friends, we share with our food pantry in town, we share with our neighbors. The thing is, you all need to grow your own food. We need food security. And whether you grow it in your landscaping, you grow it in your pots, you turn your yards into gardens, this idea that we have to feed the world Health Organization said the only way we are going to feed the world is with small organic farming. Everybody's got to do their part. So if you're not eating organically, then you are the problem. You understand that. So you need to really think about your food choices and what you're doing. And yes, I make all my own pasta, organic flour, organic eggs. Everything in my house basically is organic. No vegetable oils, soy, one of the biggest offenders of GMOs is soy, corn, anything corn products, soy products, canola oil, and there's one more that they grow. Which reminds me, he said something about putting straw down. When you put straw down, that comes off of wheat, sometimes oats. But when you put it down, you make sure that you're getting straw that comes from an organic farmer. Otherwise, you are introducing glyphosates and other little nasty things into your garden that you do not want to introduce. And the same thing goes with a compost pile. You make sure with your compost pile that everything in it is organic. I have friends that, well, I put food and sometimes, yeah, but you're using non-organic foods and then you're going to get into real trouble. And that's why I don't take any things off of somebody else's place, because I don't know what they have done. I also want to tell you, if you cannot grow all of your own food, or at least part of your food, community gardens are huge. Please go to one, start one. Go to your local farmer's market. Get to know your farmer. Ask him how he grows or she grows. There is other certifications other than being organic. One is a biointensive or biodynamic certification. If I were younger, that's probably something that I would do. It's all your inputs and outputs are on the farm, and they garden by the moon. And I mean, like, who doesn't plant their garlic by the full moon in October? I mean, that was one of the first things I heard 50 years ago. But they plant all of that. They've had tremendous success with that. There's another certification that's coming out that you're going to see more often, which is called Certified Natural. When they say food is natural, that doesn't mean anything. Big deal. But Certified Natural is started in the state of New York. It's coming across. I see a few farms here and there that are going Certified Natural. It's generally the smaller farmer, and they're a little tougher in some ways than the organic people are, the OFA people are. And in Washington, they're trying to dilute the organic requirements, just what we need. We need to tighten them, not all that. If anybody has a question, I'll try, yes.
What was it you said to put on your beans when you plant them?
Oh, I mix my Corzide and milk.
What is it?
My Corzide, it's MyCorrhizae. Oh, geez, I can't believe I could spell that. I know, I'm really impressed with myself. Me, as a school teacher who can't spell, yeah, my Corzide. I buy it online.
So are you pre-sprouting your beans then? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'll tell you, I do some seed viability, which I'm going to do this year, which means you take your seeds and you dampen down paper towels and put them in a plastic bag and put them in a dark place. And as soon as they start tiny little sprout, plant. Yeah, I have a place I start my own plants. Sometimes I have really great success. As a friend said to me, Maggie, you'll do better next year. You're learning. Oh, geez. Plants get too big, too little, One thing I will tell you to grow, if you don't grow anything else, even in pots, is grow peppers. Peppers are so expensive in the store. And peppers are just so easy to grow. We grow Carmen's, which is a big red, long pepper. And I take them, and when they get nice and red, I put them in a cookie sheet with aluminum foil and put them under the broiler. You char them, keep turning them until they get charred. You take them off, put them in a bowl, put plastic saran wrap over the bowl till they sweat, they cool down, and then you peel them. And then you are left with this magnificent roasted pepper. So then I take a sheet of press and seal, and I lay each pepper down on the press and seal. Now don't schlep them on there, make them look nice. And then I take another piece and I put it on the top and I press around each pepper. Then I take a pair of scissors and cut around each one. So each pepper's in its own little baggie. And then I throw them in the freezer so that you always have roasted peppers. Why would you ever buy one? And then the rest, some peppers I take and I just freeze them whole for stuffed peppers in the winter. And other peppers I just take and I just slice them up just because whatever I'm going to need peppers for. So, that is just one thing. That pepper they're just wonderful to have in your freezer. My son comes up and he says, Mother, you have a whole grocery store here. And I said, well, but this is the way it is. Yes.
Did you just have a farm market?
Yes.
Were you like by Crestline or?
Yes.
Is that where you still are?
Oh, yes.
What's its name and where to?
It's Rupp Valley Farm, and everybody says, why are you calling it a valley? And I said, that's because my brother-in-law liked the word, and so I said, it looks nice. So I said, I don't know, we're in a valley between the Rockies and the Appalachians. I don't know. We're on a very flat area. I mean, it's totally flat. Huh? Rupp Valley Farm. Yes, that's Billy Rupp. I would like to tell you that as my husband's older brother, that really just excites him to death when I say that because he isn't. My husband is the oldest of 4 boys. Yes?
How are your raised beds constructed?
Cedar. They're 2 inches, they're what, 6 inches?
2 inches thick.
2 inches thick?
The boards are 6 inches and we have 12 inches high.
12
inches high.
12 inches high. Right.
Western red cedar.
Right. They're 12 inches high. We have 13 rows that are 30 inches wide by 24 feet long. And then we have some rows that are like 4 or 5 feet wide and 40 feet long. So it's enough to keep the 2 of us busy. Yeah? Oh, no. No, I'm not strictly vegetarian. I have to be very honest with you. I cheat. We have a freezer fresh in town. It calls me. I've learned that I can get their baby cone. And I can get the 3 miles from the freezer fresh to my house and the cone will be gone.
Out of your, what you grow, is the same. Are you at 100% of
what, of vegetables to, oh, providing our own food? Oh, we've got to be at least 80%. At least 80 to 90, yeah. There's not much, I mean, there's not much that I don't, if it's there, I'll use it. So a friend of ours said, I am redoing my landscaping and I have this little mint plant. She says, never done much, and I've never done much with mint. I couldn't get him to do so. I said, you want it? Oh, I'll take anything. So I put it in one of the raised beds because I had the brilliant idea that we would use one of these raised beds for our herbs. How was I supposed to know that the little mint said, I have died and gone to heaven? I swear that mint plant grew 24/7. Within, I don't know, months, it had taken over the whole row. It is now 4 feet high. I mean, so I make mint pesto. Oh, mint pesto is delicious. And I make mint pesto, I don't put the cheese in it. I use the walnuts instead of pine nuts. I use walnuts. Don't put the cheese in it. Make the pesto into little jars. I freeze it. It's wonderful over pasta. It makes a one, you can add the cheese to it when you defrost it. It's wonderful over pasta. It's wonderful over chicken breast. All those nice things. It's really good to eat. And then I have made mint pasta, which is really, really good, believe it or not. It's really good. We take all of our herbs. We grow all of our own herbs. We trim them, we wash them, put them through a salad spinner, take the leaves off, put them in a bag, mark the bag, and we freeze everything. I don't buy any herbs. Just use them frozen. Chop, 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 chop. Anything you want. Yeah.
Do you teach those classes at your farm?
Do I teach classes?
At your farm?
No. I'm sorry. People come out and look at the farm. They're welcome to come out.
Where is this?
Where is it? It is, I'm going to explain. It's 3 miles west of Crestline on Route 30. It's the old Route 30. Our house is right on the road. Oh my gosh, I think we're, 2 feet off the road. Yes, ma'am.
How long do your herbs last in the freezers?
Oh, they'll go all season. There's no problem. I mean, I just,
They don't lose their flavor or anything like
no, in fact, I was making sauce. You understand what sauce is if you're an Italian, I have to make sauce. We grow a lot of San Marzano tomatoes. Now, San Marzanos are a paste tomato. They are not a really good eating tomato, but when you cook them, they are divine. So I make sauce, and I use the basil that I have frozen, and I can smell it. I can all over my hands. Oh my land, it just makes your mouth water. That's all I can say. It's divine. I hope that you're going beyond, speaking of tomatoes, beyond early boy and big girl and whatever they are, and you're using real tomatoes like Paul Robeson's. Oh, what a wonderful eating tomato. Copia, German stripe. They have so many beautiful heirloom tomatoes that you to eat. It's well worth using those. It's because, a lot of tomatoes, a lot of seeds are now patented by you-know-who. So we're trying to move away from them. That's why you want to use more heirlooms that are, and that's where you get the real flavor, the real taste, all those good things. Yes, ma'am?
I was wondering, you said that you froze your asparagus and other things in jars. How
Yes.
do you allow for, do you have to leave headspace?
Yes, you leave a headspace, like any canning, you leave headspace. So the asparagus actually is just long enough that it comes right up, I do it whole, right up to the shoulder. The tips come right up to the shoulder. I found that's not my original idea. That came from an old farm lady who's even older than I. But that's what she said to do. I thought that was great. I thought that was wonderful. That really works. Any other questions? Anybody? David, are you ready to talk?
I'm hungry now after hearing you.
I will tell you that the first person I met when we bought our farm was David Duncan. And we have journeyed together for 24 years. We still speak. good friends, my buddy.
Thank you.